Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. I have new Legends of Tomorrow footage, so I'm going to play it, then we're going to talk a little bit about Vandal Savage and what's going on with the Flash Arrow finales. So here we go.
We all know history isn't written with pens, but bullets. War is God's way of moving the human race forward.
I'm here because the future of the world is in peril because of a man named Vandal Savage. I chose U8 to travel throughout time to stop them.
You got the wrong guy. Hero ain't on my resume.
Where I'm from, you aren't just considered heroes.
You're legends.
Now it's up to you, shall we?
You're just a lost assassin. You're just a pair of good-for-nothing criminals.
I can live with that.
We have the power to change our own fate.
They're here.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Series premiere Thursday, January 21st on the CW.
I'll go ahead and say spoiler warning in case you guys haven't seen the Flash Arrow crossover episodes from this week. The Flash episode 8 and Arrow episode 8. We find out that Vandal Savage is reduced to ashes using an nth metal weapon, but that Merlin at the end of the episode picks up the ashes and says, "You owe me one, buddy." So yeah, you shake your fist at Merlin, but what I really want to know is what is the favor that Merlin is going to call in with Vandal Savage? Like, what if the original Ra's al Ghul comes back and Merlin needs his help? Please, Vandal Savage, save me from corrections to the canon. The joke there is that Merlin was never head of the League of Assassins in the comics, but I totally love what John Barrowman's done with the character on TV. Way better than his comic book counterpart. The question we're left with, though, is how does Vandal Savage come back? And we're not going to find out till episode 1 of Legends of Tomorrow. They did say like that they would totally explain it in that episode, which we now know is on January 21st. But because his life force is tied to Hawkman and Hawkgirl, as we learned during the big Flash Arrow crossover, and it has something to do with nth metal, I'm wondering if Merlin is going to uncover a, heretofore unknown Lazarus pit and combine it with some special magic to make him whole again. My guess is, though, is that when they do bring him back, he will still be tied to Hawkman and Hawkgirl's life force, so he'll still have to kill them to maintain his immortality. Now, if you remember in the comics, he was just blanket immortal, like he didn't need to do anything special to stay immortal. So they changed that on the TV show just to make it a little more meaningful between the characters, just to create some more conflict. I won't really argue with the logic, it just makes for better TV. It just gives him more of a reason to want to kill Hawkman and Hawkgirl if he's going to be the half-set character from their origin story. Now, I totally love the actor that's playing Vandal Savage. I think he's going to be really awesome in the role. The only complaint I have against the story, and this is really just a function of them not having a lot of time in that 2-hour crossover episode, is explaining why just because he gets jilted by Hawkgirl that he wants to kill her again and again across space and time. What I think they meant to imply is that before he became infatuated with Hawkgirl and she spurned his advances, he was already a really evil priest of Horus. So it kind of seemed like he was looking forward to the nth metal Skyrocks, as they called them, destroying the Egyptian Empire. The only problem when they brush over a backstory like that on TV, like the Flash season 1 is a good example, like at the end of the season when Barry's like, "Why do you hate me so much, Reverse Flash?" And he's like, "It doesn't matter." Like he completely brushes over it, but you spent all season with those characters, so you've gotten to know them quite a bit. Like you kind of know what's going on inside Eobard Thawne's head when he says that. When we meet Vandal Savage in this episode, we really have no idea what's going on in his head, only that he thinks that the kingdom is in danger from the Skyrocks, and he wants to have sex with Hawkgirl. So it seems like the premise for Legends of Tomorrow is that Vandal Savage has a much more grand plan for the world. Because before that, like we don't get any of that in the big crossover episode. Like he just tries to seek out Hawkman and Hawkgirl to kill them so that he can live forever. Why does he want to live forever? Because he's supposed to live forever. So it's kind of a weak reason. So I think Legends of Tomorrow will give him an actual reason for wanting to take over the world. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff happening in this trailer besides Vandal Savage, Hawkman, and Hawkgirl. Like the other big thing that I'm most excited about is learning more about the Firestorm character and like what they're going to do with it based on what happened in the comics. Now the comics is littered with Firestorm stories, so they might be picking bits and pieces, so we'll just have to watch for Easter eggs. But I think in terms of like really big crazy stuff, like I'm not expecting them to get into God particle territory. That's like a New 52 storyline. I'm expecting them to just have fun with the idea of transmutation. That's like a power that we haven't seen Firestorm use on the show yet. Now all these characters, you have seen them use their powers on The Flash and Arrow in various episodes, but they did say that by the time they get to Legends of Tomorrow episode 1, a lot of the kinks will be worked out. They'll be much more badass than they're portrayed on the screen. Like the Atom is the best example. Like a lot of his gear will malfunction from time to time. They said that most of that's going to be worked out by episode 1 Legends of Tomorrow. And the other real promise of the series is a ship-based show. Like right now, Star Wars hasn't come out, so space opera isn't a big thing. It's not really in vogue right now. It's been a long time since Battlestar went off the air. But after episode 7, just start expecting a whole lot more sci-fi space opera. So if you're a big fan of those types of stories, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Legends of Tomorrow will be that DC ship-based show. I wouldn't really call it space opera because the Wave Rider, Rip Hunter's ship, is gonna stay local to Earth. But it is interesting to think about them doing more space-based stories in season 2, season 3, however many seasons the show ends up going. I know there's a rumor that's been going around that they spent way too much money on season 1 and the CW is worried it won't be able to fund a season 2. Don't believe any of that till you hear it from the producers. Usually they don't greenlight shows for second seasons till after the first season has completed its run. And there's supposed to be almost like 16 episodes of Legends of Tomorrow, so it's gonna be a while before we hear about that. Speaking of space, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me about the Batman v Superman trailer. Are those parademons during the Nightmare Batman sequence? I think that that's a hallucination, but I do think that they are honoring the parademons of the comics. They're just meant to invoke that for people that have read the comics. People that haven't read the comics will probably just think they're really scary. So I'll say yes to parademons, but I will say no to Darkseid. That is like way, way off in the distance if the movies ever decide to go to Jack Kirby's Fourth World stories. Giveaway time though. Congratulations to this week's Reverse Flash giveaway winner, Creeper Rebellion. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact info. What's going to happen is I have a new Flash video that I'll post sometime this weekend. I'll go ahead and start a new round of the giveaway whenever I post that. Whole bunch of Wally West stuff happening. I'm going to push all my Wally West news to that video. I've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm working on this weekend. There's the Doctor Who finale. I have some more Game of Thrones Telltale. They just announced a Batman Telltale game. I'm so excited about that. It's going to be so much fun. While you guys wait for everything, you can click here for my Batman v Superman trailer if you haven't seen it yet, or like a billion times. And you can click here for my Arrow Flash crossover episodes. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.